Greetings, Mayor.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as always. We've been knowing each other for many years.
That's right.
It is great to have you to have this conversation about Digital Inclusion Week and Tech Goes Home and what digital equity means to the city of Boston. I want to thank you personally for your leadership in the city and how you have bridged the gap between the traditionalism and the innovation that is required to advance this city. And so we are really excited about being able to spend a few moments with you to talk about this topic.
Right back at you.
All right.
I'm so excited to see you in this role and to be moving in these spaces where it's more urgent than ever.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's jump into it. So why is advancing digital equity in Boston so important?
We're known in many ways as a city, and sometimes those images are kind of contradictory, right? We're known as this place of history dating back hundreds of years, and sometimes that comes with a sense of we're going to stick with tradition until we're forced not to.
Right.
And then we're also known as the cutting edge place for innovation, whether it's on the healthcare field or tech or just shaping the direction of this country. In this moment, to do both of those things, to respect the history and legacy that we represent, and to ensure that our residents are positioned to be in these innovative jobs of the future, digital infrastructure is really that basic, necessary investment that we all need to make. And it's not just the physical wires and making sure connections are plugged in the right way, although that is very important, but it's the fluency for our residents as well, and finding where the gaps are, really connecting them to the other initiatives that we have. So we're layering this on top of, or really as the foundation under everything that we're doing.
We talk a lot about family. Why is it more important to invest in the family instead of just one individual?
I think for those of us who have experienced what it means to need services or to even just try to move through the things that you need to do in your life, when you're up against systems that often aren't designed to serve every family, you start to see, right, through the experience of an elder relative you're caring for, or a child, or your partner, or other people in your constellation, that we have to move together. And I try to apply that concept of family to the larger community as well. We in Boston are kind of fiercely proud of our individual corner in the city, right? And you ask people where they're from, they'll say, I'm from this street, in this neighborhood. How do we start to really build a city where family means the entire city of Boston? We have as much stake in each other's future as our own kind of exact surroundings. And how do we deliver services in a way that is planning for that multi-generational experience? Because it's not just from what do kids need and what do seniors need? What are they giving? What do they contribute? It makes us a richer, more vibrant, more welcoming city when we're really empowering everyone to tap in and contribute their full talent.
Well, you just described Tech Goes Home, so thank you very much for giving us a plug. What efforts are currently underway at improving digital access and inclusion?
Well, I mean, you all have been the vanguard for a very long time, and I've so appreciated, my very first lessons in what the digital divide even was came from sitting with Tech Goes Home years ago, before the pandemic, before everything went on Zoom and online. You all were there saying it's really this three-legged stool of having the internet access, having the equipment and the devices, and then having the skills and training. And that model of, again, how do we take care of an entire family, every generation, with each of those three pieces is really important. So we're really just trying, in some ways, to follow your lead on this. We have a digital equity fund that the city's created to try to work with community organizations like you all, like others, who can directly enroll people in the Affordable Connectivity Program, for example. We have enrolled 45,000 families to date out of a 58,000 family gap that we're trying to close, almost there. And it's through innovations such as your classes that empower residents. It's partnering with healthcare nonprofits who are enrolling people as they're waiting in the waiting room to see the doctor. And so our goal is to not just be satisfied with creating the existence of services, but to make sure they're affordable, high quality, and create the choice that residents deserve.
Yeah, and I just want to echo that we appreciate the team, the staff, the Do It group who are being innovative on how they're going to reach people where they are and not expecting them to come for the resource itself. So that's excellent. And that's doing well under your leadership. So thank you. But as mayor, let me ask you this question. How do you envision the role of the city in advancing and maintaining a digital equitable Boston?
You know, it's funny. I was just in a Zoom room with mayors from all around the country, specifically talking about what the goals are and actions that different cities are taking. In a lot of places around the country, the city's role is to try to chase down basic infrastructure, where it, particularly in rural areas and in other places where even just finding one internet service provider to build the trenches and do the work. We are in a very different place in Boston, and I realize that in that room. We're talking about not just ensuring that we're trying to plug people in, but going after families one by one by one. The way we think of it is really to map it onto other city services. So the vast majority of the residents who are still experiencing that digital divide and gap live in subsidized housing or public housing, or in communities where traditionally there's been an underinvestment of resources. And so we're really trying to go wrap ourselves all around in every way. We are looking at 3 different public housing developments in everything from the buildings to the programming to the relationships and educational programs. How do we, as we're building climate-friendly buildings, ensure that they're also equipped with the spaces for the access and the cables to be initially installed and then also to be maintained over time with easy access? How do we ensure that in schools, in public buildings, and in people's day-to-day lives at home, we're really providing that fundamental infrastructure for them to be able to tap into, and then bring on the experts in the room to provide services? Well,
no, we appreciate that. And I actually want to acknowledge that the awards that you gave out last week in Mattapan at a housing unit and talked about the wicked free Wi-Fi, and I was able to see the machinery and everything. I mean, it's amazing to see like how you can connect people in one space and what impact it really gives them. I mean, we heard the stories earlier. We talked to different people. They tell us their scenarios, but it's one thing to actually be able to see it in person. And so that's exciting for us. You talked about ACP, and I just want to talk a little bit about what role do you think government programs like ACP, Affordable Connectivity Program, can play in making sure that everyone is connected?
It's been so important. That program has really been a godsend in terms of families who understand that the gap is there. We heard from parents, for example, in the other room saying, I was panicked at how to help support my young person when everything went online. They recognize and know and very tangibly feel the gap, but sometimes there are trade-offs that no one should have to make between other important costs for the family, other new outfits for school, or food on the table, or medicines, or internet access. It's just we should be in a society and a city certainly where those fundamentals are there for everyone, and having access to programs like ACP with the affordability makes that first barrier come down. There are still others that we're working on. We know that funding for this program is set to run out soon, and so we have to push
all
hands on deck
the envelope a little bit
to get the federal government there, and then to partner with the state and other resources as well.
Right. So I know you have to wrap up and time is of the essence, but let me ask you one last question here. What are additional challenges and or opportunities that are ahead of us when it comes to advancing digital equity in Boston?
I think the challenge is that we're our administration loves data. Boston loves analyzing, getting on the numbers.
We're all analysts.
We don't have access to great data about who exactly is not connected. We know the number, the sort of universe of how many families are not plugged in, but we don't know exactly where they are and who they are. And so we've been working, and again, 45,000 families signed up so far, but closing that final gap, it would be helpful just to be able to really identify where those buildings are, where those families are, through a more direct way than kind of word of mouth and all the efforts that we're collectively doing. And so that's something I'm trying to think through. And then in terms of opportunities, Boston we are the envy of so many other cities with the mix of industries and resources and activism from our residents. we want to make sure that digital connectivity and this kind of shift that is going to happen, whether or not we are at the forefront of it, that becomes a vehicle for us to do more and bring more people in, rather than one more wall that gets put up. And I feel very confident about the partners that we have in the space, the energy, and all the work that we were ahead of the curve on. So it's exciting to be able to see that really get to the next level.
Yeah, it's exciting to witness the outcomes of the work, right? Because we deal with a lot of the infrastructure in the background and developing the systems and so forth, but to actually see what happens on the ground, to see the people, to hear those stories, I continue to just be overjoyed by hearing people's testimonies about this work. And so is there anything you want to say in closing as we wrap up Digital Inclusion Week? Is there anything you would like to say that would give us some inspiration around how we continue pushing this work forward?
Our vision is for Boston to be a city for everyone. That means that wherever you are in the world, if you're 6 generations deep in our neighborhoods, or you're just making your way to our country for the first time and to our city, that this is home. And in a pretty volatile and sometimes unpredictable world these days, weather and politics and situations just coming out of the blue, our connectedness is more important than ever. We are doing everything we can to be physically connected in the city, build spaces and create programs. But this is the type of connectivity that actually can open the door to all the rest of it. Right. And it's all of our responsibility to ensure that we're not resting just because we have the lowest gap anywhere in the country. We will not be satisfied until every resident is on high speed, trained, that they're making their new businesses, right, and taking every advantage of education, that all the energy that's in our communities, this can really unleash. And so it's going to take a little bit of work, but we are in it, and I'm so grateful for all the partners.
Well, Mayor, we thank you. We really appreciate not only your time, not only your vision, but your willingness to implement. Because a lot of leaders will talk about how this could work, but then there are leaders like yourself who are working to create the solution. This is the closing of our Fireside Chat today, and it is our hope that you will value the conversation that has been taking place here today, and you'll continue not only to support this mayor's leadership, the work of Tech Goes Home, but you will help to advance someone that is sitting next to you that might not have access. You will sign them up with whatever program is near you to ensure that they are a part of the digital inclusion and not on the other side of the digital divide. We thank you. Have a great day.